A cooking class wrapped up for the day with the instructor telling everyone to try making the dish at home. Layla, a 25-year-old office worker, was relieved the lesson was finally over. Her friend Yui-chan immediately called her out for only cooking and eating during class and not being great at cleaning up. Layla admitted the cooking class was not really her idea. Yui-chan had pushed her into it, insisting that being able to cook was a huge plus when getting married. Yui-chan then went full mom mode, warning Layla that if she did not fix her laziness she would regret it someday. She told her not to laze around on weekends, not to let her laundry pile up, to keep her room clean, and to go outside on her days off. Layla appreciated the concern but felt it was a lot. Layla agreed she needed to fix her lazy life, but she stopped at a convenience store on her way home and bought junk food, sweetbread and juice. She admitted that once you fall into this kind of life there is no getting out. She planned to not leave her futon the next day and binge a whole stack of dramas. Layla arrived home. Her apartment was a total mess with clothes, trash, cans and books scattered everywhere. She admitted it was pretty bad and understood why Yui-chan said all those things. As a 25-year-old woman, even she found it rough. She told herself she would clean up. She immediately decided she would do it tomorrow instead. She was too tired and just wanted to shower, sleep and recharge. As she moved through the mess she kicked a beer can, slipped and fell hard. Layla could not breathe. Her vision was fading. She thought about how a 25-year-old office worker tripping and dying in a filthy apartment could not possibly be how it ended. She begged for it not to be like this and swore that from now on she would really live like a normal person. Layla suddenly woke up gasping. She was outside in the sky and falling. She screamed in confusion, not understanding what was going on. She could see the ground far below and thought she was dead for sure. She asked why this was happening and why she was falling. She gave up and just asked to be allowed to pass out and die peacefully. A giant scaled creature suddenly caught her mid-fall. Layla slowly realized she was alive. She was sitting on something covered in scales, and it was not the ground. She noticed a horn. A voice slowly asked who she was. A massive dragon was staring right at her. Layla was shocked and called it a kaiju. Layla realized she had landed on the dragon's back. She figured if she ran she would fall and die, and if she stayed she would probably get eaten and die. She gave up and asked the dragon to please just eat her while she was unconscious. Layla woke up lying in a field of flowers. She wondered if it was heaven. The sky was beautiful, the sun was bright, and there were flowers she had never seen before. She was glad it had not hurt. A voice asked if she was awake, and she was confused. Layla screamed that it was a monster. The dragon told her that was rude and corrected her, saying it was a dragon. Layla froze and repeated the word dragon. She figured she must be in the afterlife either way. The dragon asked who she was. Layla introduced herself as Layla, born and raised in Japan, a 25-year-old office worker. The dragon said it did not understand a word she was saying. Layla started listing random things about herself, like her special skill being sleeping anywhere. She tried speaking Japanese, English and Chinese. The dragon did not understand any of them. Layla then realized they were somehow understanding each other despite the language barrier. The dragon complained that she was using too many words it did not know. Layla tried again, clearly stating that her name was Layla. The dragon heard it as Layla. She corrected it, emphasizing Layla. The dragon then heard Lilac and asked if that was seriously her name. Layla gave up and said fine, close enough. The dragon asked why she had fallen from the sky. Layla said she was actually going to ask the dragon the same thing. Layla explained that she hit her head and then woke up like that, but she did not remember anything at all. She believed she really did die, just like she had thought. She thought about her job, her friends, how startled Yui-chan would be, and her parents. She felt she had really messed up. The dragon asked if she had anywhere to be. Layla said she did not. The dragon told her to stay here for a while. Layla was surprised and asked where she was. The dragon told her this was Dragon King Castle, the capital of the Dragon King Kingdom. The dragon recalled that Layla had said she could sleep anywhere, and offered to let her stay in some corner of the castle until she found somewhere to go. The dragon then called out to someone named Burgundy. A man appeared wearing fantasy armor with red hair and a large sword. Layla was stunned by his appearance and thought he was seriously hot. The dragon ordered Burgundy to show the new arrival around. Burgundy acknowledged the order. Layla suggested the kitchen since at that hour the only people in the castle would likely be there. Burgundy asked her name. She started to say her real name but stopped and said Layla instead. Burgundy told Layla to follow him. Layla blurted out no and told him to wait. Layla wondered if the dragon was the Dragon King's pet or something else entirely since it had been giving orders to Burgundy. She figured it must be someone important. She thought about all the words she had heard. Dragon, Dragonkin, Dragon King Castle, and realized she really ended up in a ridiculous place. She told herself that pessimism would not get her anywhere. Layla accepted that she had reincarnated. She decided to stay positive and make a fresh start. From here on, as Layla, she would be living in some corner of Dragon King Castle. Layla was amazed at how huge the castle was. She asked Burgundy if the Dragon King Sama was actually the king of the country. Burgundy confirmed it was. Layla laughed it off, noting that she did just fall out of the sky, so it made sense she would not know. Burgundy explained that this was the Dragon Kingdom, ruled by the Dragon King Sama, where the Dragonkin lived. The kingdom covered half the continent. Layla thought it felt kind of like Europe at a glance, but was definitely not the Earth she knew. She said if it got any more fantasy than this, she did not know if she could handle it. Burgundy told her they had arrived. Burgundy brought her to the kitchen. The staff was rushing around in a frenzy, yelling about chilling the appetizer veggies in ice and getting plating dishes ready. Burgundy noted they were in the thick of meal prep even though it was still early for dinner. Layla was relieved that time worked the same in this world. It was still 2 p.m. She asked when dinner was, and Burgundy said 6. She thought 4 hours of prep time was absurd. Burgundy explained that ingredients had to be cooked quickly or they would rot. Layla wondered if the food here was really that delicate and whether she could even handle it. Burgundy called out to someone named Tope. Tope, the head cook, told the new girl to keep an eye on things. Burgundy said he was heading out. Layla thanked him but immediately panicked, realizing he had just left her alone in a war zone. She felt wrong standing around while everyone was so busy. Layla offered to help, but a kitchen worker told her to get out. She asked what she was supposed to do and was told to figure it out herself since they were busy. Layla tried to calm herself down, thinking that if they fired her she would end up homeless and die in the streets. She heard the constant buzzing of the kitchen and wondered if the place was a sweatshop. Layla decided she could at least do the dishes. She asked Topa to confirm that the substance was detergent and that the sink was for washing. She noticed the sink looked exactly like the one in her old trashy apartment. The grime on the dishes was caked on, so she figured she should soak them first. The soap was slimy and everything was different, making it all difficult. Tope and the kitchen staff noticed Layla at the sink. Layla called the newbie over, but something went wrong. A dish slipped and broke. Layla realized she had messed up. Those were the expensive plates used to serve the Dragon Kings. Topa told her the plates were expensive. She said what was broken, but they were already swamped and Layla was not to give them more work. Layla apologized desperately. Layla sighed outside the kitchen while carrying a basket of vegetables. She admitted that even after the plate incident she had been completely useless. Tope banned her from touching anything fragile and told her to just take out the trash or haul ingredients. Layla thought it was fair enough. The hauling did not go well either. She kept dropping things and it was awkward. She dropped the potatoes again and apologized. The coworker walking with her said she was going on ahead. Layla called out to wait for the potatoes rolling away. A dark-haired man picked up one of the fallen potatoes and offered to help. Layla was stunned. Layla thought he was another hottie. A totally different vibe from Burgundy's rowdy energy, more of the cool type. She wondered what the face card situation was at this place. The man looked at her and asked if she thought she could survive here. Layla nervously replied that it was their first time meeting and that was what he opened with. She told him she was trying her best. He said he saw and then turned and left. Layla wondered who he was. She thought his black jade eyes looked familiar, like she had seen them somewhere before. Layla went back to the kitchen and excitedly told the staff that there was a super hot guy outside just now. They ignored her. Topi just said the salad was done. The kitchen staff was gloomy, saying there was still more and more to do and they were not going to make it. Layla asked if they ever took breaks. They said they did not get breaks. Layla was shocked, since back when she had a regular job breaks were everything. She asked why and was told it was because they could not afford to make mistakes. Layla thought everyone was way too tense and wound up too tight. Layla thought that working non-stop would actually make people mess up more. She noticed the food was already beautifully plated. Her stomach growled. She noticed a dressing that smelled nostalgic. She asked if the staff ate lunch. They said they did not really eat lunch, they just nibbled on whatever got cooked and that was why they made extra food too. Layla was amazed. Layla could not believe anyone lived like that. She was starving. She went to Tope and asked if she could have some of the unused vegetables that were going to be thrown away. Tope was confused but said sure, since they were just going to toss them anyway. Layla thanked her happily. Layla looked through the vegetables and found potatoes, carrots, and onions. They were not exactly the same as what she knew, but vegetables were vegetables. She decided to make soup. She found a tough dried black sheet and had no idea what it was. She asked a kitchen worker. The worker said it was dried seaweed. They normally used fresh soft ones in salads but could never serve something so tough to the Dragon King Sama. Layla thought that if they rehydrated it maybe they could use it. She figured it could even be wakame. She decided not to waste anything and treated it like a 0 yen dinner. Layla rehydrated the seaweed and realized it was not wakame. She tasted the liquid it had been soaking in and got excited. It was kombu dashi. The taste took her right back. It was straight up broth. She wanted something similar and then noticed the dressing from earlier. She asked a kitchen worker if she could try a little of it. She tasted it and confirmed her suspicion. Layla asked a worker about a substance stored in a barrel, the stuff before it was dissolved in oil. She borrowed a little. She soaked the kombu in water, warmed it on low heat and pulled it out before it boiled to make kombu stock. She added the vegetables and then the seasoning from earlier. Layla confirmed that the seasoning was just a miso imitation. The result smelled good and was basically Japanese miso soup. She thanked Yui in her head for dragging her to cooking class, since now she could eat like this even in another world. Tope came over, noticed the smell and asked what it was. Layla presented her finished miso soup. Tope had never heard of it. Layla offered her a taste. Tope sniffed it cautiously, took a sip and admitted it was actually good. Tope asked if the new girl had come up with this dish. Layla said no, it was a common home-cooked dish from her hometown. Tope called it a backwater dish and said she had never had anything like it. She asked about the soup base. She noted that the shriveled seaweed had a use after all and acknowledged that Layla could cook. Layla offered that if Tope wanted, she could start making meals for everyone from now on. Tope and the rest of the kitchen staff stared at her in silence. The kitchen staff asked Layla what a makanai was. Layla explained that makanai was short for makanai meals, food made not for customers or the Dragon King but for the staff. She pointed out that the staff had been living off scraps, so starting from there made sense. The staff had never heard of the concept. Layla said she could cook it, no problem. Layla argued that at least she had not destroyed any food and she was the least busy person, so she was kind of perfect for the job. She added that nobody else could make a flavor like hers and it could be useful for the staff to learn too. Tope admitted it was a fair point and agreed to let her do it. Layla beamed and said she would do her best. Layla was relieved she had acquired a job and would not be completely useless anymore. The kitchen staff sat down together to eat for the first time. They said it was nice to eat while actually sitting down. One staff member admitted she had thought a break space like this was a waste of space, but after standing all day and working non-stop she was beat. The soup was surprisingly good, and the side dish was pretty good too. Layla introduced a dish from her hometown made with a grain called sativa. The staff recognized it as onigiri. Layla was excited that sativa turned out like rice when cooked. The staff said they had only ever had it boiled. Layla called it a quick, easy time saver. One staff member said that maybe because they could actually take a breather like this, she felt like she had been making fewer dumb mistakes lately. Layla asked if small mistakes were really that bad. A staff member with horns said absolutely not. If the Dragon King found out you messed up, you were instantly fired with no second chance, even for a first mistake. Layla thought the Dragon King was really strict and worried that if her uselessness got out, she would be tossed out immediately. The staff thanked her for the meal and told her not to worry about the cleanup since she would just break something again. Layla thought the situation reminded her of Yui-chan. A staff member bumped into her and apologized, and her name was revealed to be Magenta. Layla told her not to worry about it and to just try not to screw up. Magenta called Layla by name. Layla thought about how she still did not know what happened to her old world and there was a lot she did not understand. But here she was, and she would just keep pushing through one day at a time. A few days later, Layla was happily cooking in the kitchen. She announced they had meat today, so she was making tanjiru. The staff said it smelled divine. Tope came over and asked what she was making. Tope told Layla that today's dish for the Dragon King was chilled vegetable potage. Layla thought it looked fancy. She noticed it kind of looked like her tanjiru. Tope scolded her not to lump her staff meal in with the Dragon King's dish. The plating team got their break first, and Tope told Layla to hurry up with the makanai. Layla apologized and went to serve right away, but they were short on bowls. She needed a dish and looked around. She found a fancy one that was fancier than the usual bowls but figured she was only using it for a second so it would be fine. She ladled soup into it. Someone called for Lilac to hurry, and she said yes and went to take the bowl, but it was gone. She was confused and wondered if it was an illusion. Magenta came over saying the bowls were all gone. Tope told her to use the washed ones by the sink and try to do better next time. Layla thought it was weird. She had definitely just ladled some in and now there was not much left in the pot. She wondered if she had given too much to the first group since it was only 2 ladles each. Someone said, "Hey." A man with glasses stormed into the kitchen and demanded that whoever made the weird soup step out and show themselves. Layla was startled and thought he looked strict and angry. Tope confronted him and asked what he meant by weird soup. The man, called Fawn, insisted he did not say the soup was weird. Fawn said that today's soup was not Tope's usual one. Tope was confused and said today's soup was her chilled vegetable potage. Fawn insisted it was a plain soup with meat and vegetables and asked why Tope would serve that to the Dragon King. Layla started to speak up, then froze as she realized what had happened. Fawn called her an imbecile. Layla explained that she could not find a bowl and used the clean white one on the prep counter. She apologized desperately and said it was tanjiru, a staff meal. Tope apologized too. Fawn walked them through the castle hallways. He muttered that it was a serious blunder with Tope present and said he had been against letting someone like Layla stay in the first place. Layla tried to defend Tope, saying she had not done anything wrong, but Fawn silenced her. He told Layla she would apologize to the Dragon King. Layla agreed. Layla imagined the worst case, the Dragon King getting mad and kicking her out of the castle. She thought it might not even stop there. All the maids had said the Dragon King was terrifying. She panicked, thinking that if she got dumped in a world she knew nothing about, she would not survive. They arrived at a massive ornate door and Layla was terrified. Fawn knocked and announced they had brought the girl. A voice told them to enter. Fawn directed Layla inside. The dining room was enormous with a huge table. Fawn told Layla to keep her face down until she was told otherwise. A voice told her to raise her face. Layla looked up and saw the dark-haired man from before sitting at the seat of honor. She recognized him instantly. It was the potato guy who had helped her pick up the dropped potatoes and asked if she could survive here. She was shocked to realize he was the Dragon King. The Dragon King seemed to recognize her too and paused for a moment. Layla asked what was wrong and he said it was nothing and apologized. The Dragon King confirmed that Layla was the one who made the soup. Layla said yes and apologized if it had offended his palate. She offered to replace it immediately. The Dragon King said no, it was a rare flavor and quite delicious. Layla was stunned that he was not mad. He asked what kind of cuisine it was. Layla explained it was from her hometown, though it was not exactly a proper version since the ingredients here were a little different from what she had back home. The Dragon King said he saw. Layla realized her story about falling out of the sky had reached the Dragon King's ears, and that was why he had asked her before if she thought she could make it here. The glasses man seemed to know too. Layla apologized deeply for the discourtesy of serving him something meant for Makanai. The Dragon King asked what Makanai was and she nervously explained it was food for the kitchen staff. He understood and noted that the meal preparations must have been that hectic. Layla thought the Dragon King did not feel as scary as everyone said. The Dragon King then asked why that Makanai had ended up in his quarters. Fawn flinched. Layla blurted out that it was all her fault. She admitted she had used the wrong bowl, and she was always clumsy, like when she tried to chill vegetables and dumped them all down the sink, or when she smeared milk all over the floor thinking it was wax. Even the other day during a break she had messed up. She said it was all because she was so careless and sloppy, and she was so sorry. Fawn asked her what she was saying. The Dragon King told her he got it, and to spare him because his stomach was killing him. Layla was confused. The Dragon King had been holding back laughter and finally admitted that her story was just too funny. Layla and Fawn were both shocked. Layla had thought he was furious, but he had actually been laughing. The Dragon King said that in any case he liked the soup. He told Layla that if she was making it every day she should bring it to him as well. Layla was surprised. The kitchen staff ate it every day, so he figured it was safe. Fawn protested, saying the Dragon King intended to eat food made by some unknown girl who was not even an official servant, and that a king should not do that. The Dragon King decided they would hire Lilac officially. He announced that they would employ Layla as a maid and asked Fawn if he had any objections. Fawn reluctantly accepted, looking defeated, and muttered that the Dragon King had been saving that one up. A girl with short hair said she couldn't believe Layla had ended up cooking for the Dragon King. Layla said she was surprised too, though she noticed that the glasses guy had looked pretty unhappy about it. The short-haired girl mentioned that the Dragon King really wasn't scary at all, and told Layla not to worry about Fawn, explaining that he was always fussing over the Dragon King's mood and that was just how he was. Layla admitted with embarrassment that because of all that she had ended up blurting out all sorts of embarrassing stories. A senior maid told Layla that she was now an official maid. Layla was shocked. The senior maid warned her that it meant more work and more responsibility. Layla eagerly declared she was ready for anything. A girl named Magenta showed Layla to her room. Layla thanked her and Magenta told her that a bed had just opened up, adding that Layla could just call her Magenta. Magenta handed Layla a uniform and told her to try it on. While changing, Layla noticed something deep in her pocket. She found a tube and didn't remember having it. She realized it came from the skirt she had been wearing when she fell into this world. For a reason she couldn't explain, she felt like it was something she couldn't lose. Layla decided to use a cabinet in the room and put the tube away, thinking it would be fine as long as she stored it properly. Magenta called out asking if the uniform was ready yet. They then headed outside where the other staff members gathered around. The staff complimented Layla, telling her the uniform looked great on her, and calling her Lilac. Layla felt like she was finally being accepted. The other maids admitted they had been wary at first, explaining that they had been suddenly told to take care of a mystery girl who had apparently fallen from the sky, so of course they were on guard. Layla thought to herself that she still wasn't sure how to put it, whether she had been reborn in this world or just dropped into it. She couldn't talk to anyone about it, and no one would probably believe her anyway. Someone called out to Lilac, snapping her out of her thoughts. A senior staff member told everyone to get back to their stations, saying they had mountains of work that day. Layla was assigned to soups. She was amazed at the quality of the ingredients, exclaiming about the fish, meat, and vegetables. She asked excitedly if she could use all of them, and the staff confirmed it. The head cook explained that the best cuts went to the Dragon King, and everything left over was for the staff meals. Layla worked alongside the other kitchen staff, chopping vegetables, cooking, baking bread, carrying supplies, and hanging laundry. She threw herself into the busy routine. Afterward, Layla sat alone in the kitchen thinking, looking troubled. Layla noted that even though she had more breathing room now, she was still swamped. She wished she could prep things in advance, but a coworker warned her that the ingredients would end up spoiling if she did that. Layla thought she could at least make a dried kombu substitute, but that wasn't enough. She muttered that what she really needed was a fridge. The coworker didn't understand the word. Layla noted that the world had hearths, lamps, and brooms, but no electricity, so it couldn't be helped. She missed her modern Japanese appliances. Layla wandered into the hallway, lamenting that she needed a fridge. A knight named Burgundy appeared. He said he had come because he missed lunch. Fawn, who was eating a bowl of food nearby, scolded Burgundy, telling him not to take a little girl's rambling seriously. Burgundy pointed out that Fawn himself was eating the staff meals Layla made. Fawn insisted it was a poison test. Fawn asked Layla what this rizo-ko was, and she thought to herself that he might be a tsundere. She noted that although the food she made was simple, she thought it tasted pretty good, and if it was going to the Dragon King it couldn't be helped. Burgundy asked what the fridge was. Layla explained how a refrigerator worked and described what it could do. Burgundy and Fawn admitted it sounded useful. Burgundy suggested that maybe Spruce could make one. Layla asked who Spruce was. Burgundy explained that Spruce was the country's mage general. In plain terms, the most powerful wizard in the country. Layla was amazed to hear there was a wizard. Fawn panicked and shouted at Burgundy, saying there was no way he was planning to involve Lord Spruce over a little girl's silly request. Layla asked if that was bad. Burgundy told Layla that since he didn't know the details well enough to explain it himself, she was coming too. He decided they would go ask Spruce. Layla and Fawn were both caught off guard as Burgundy ran off. Fawn chased after him, shouting his name. They arrived at the Dragon King's dining room. Layla protested that the Dragon King was eating, but Burgundy didn't care and went in anyway. Fawn exclaimed after them. Inside the dining room, Layla saw two men she hadn't seen before sitting on either side of the Dragon King. She was stunned by how attractive they were. Burgundy greeted him, saying Layla had been telling him about something interesting and he thought they could use it. He looked at Layla. Burgundy told Layla to chin up and explain it like she did before. He identified her as the miso soup girl. He commented that Layla was quite the cute little lady and asked the man beside her if he agreed, calling him Spruce. Spruce replied that he had no interest in people's faces. Layla was startled. She thought the room was at peak hot guy saturation. Burgundy confirmed that she was seeing them for the first time. He explained that the one with long hair was Indigo, who had the title of Wise General and was basically the Chancellor. The messy-haired one was Spruce, the wizard he had mentioned. Indigo remarked that both he and Spruce had been enjoying the miso soup as well, calling it quite delicious. He asked Layla how she knew about miso soup. Indigo noted that for Raphael to like her food when he normally had no interest in food was impressive, and asked if Layla wouldn't want to try explaining her idea. Layla realized that Raphael was the Dragon King's name. The Dragon King Raphael asked Layla about the interesting thing she had mentioned. Layla nervously explained that it was called a refrigerator, an amazing box that kept food fresh for a long time. She said that if they had one she could serve even better food than she already did, and she had heard the Mage General might be able to make it. Spruce listened and said that if she could explain the mechanics he could make it for her. Layla was thrilled and exclaimed in excitement. Burgundy cheered along with her. Spruce stood up and told Layla to tell him everything. Indigo asked Raphael that if he was so eager to join them, why didn't he go himself? Raphael said he wouldn't. Indigo smirked. A few days later, Layla thought that things were starting to sound fun. They went to an open area where Spruce had drawn a magic circle on the ground with a box at its center. Layla was amazed to see a real magic circle. Spruce confirmed that for the fridge they just needed to keep the inside of a box cold using ice magic. Cold but not freezing. Layla was shocked that it could really be done without any materials. Spruce said the final step needed a clear image of the refrigerator and called Layla over to help. He placed his hand near her head and told her to picture the fridge clearly. Layla tried but accidentally pictured a canned beer inside it as well. Burgundy told her they didn't need the canned beer in there, and Layla apologized, saying it was a reflex. Spruce cast his magic, and ice and energy swirled around the box in the magic circle. With a burst of power, the creation was complete. The result was an ornate, industrial-sized fridge. Layla was ecstatic. Burgundy asked if this was what she called a risoko, and confirmed it was already perfectly cold inside. Spruce explained that the power source was ambient mana, so it was cordless and would work as is. Burgundy praised Spruce as expected of the kingdom's greatest wizard. Layla noted that it was surprisingly high-tech. Raphael, who had also come to see, told Layla not to get jealous. Burgundy said he wasn't jealous. Layla thanked the Dragon King and Spruce, promising she would make even better meals now. Raphael patted Layla on the head and told her he looked forward to it. Layla was caught off guard. Raphael turned and walked away. Indigo called after him, telling Raphael to wait up. Layla stood there confused. The fridge was moved into the kitchen. Layla struggled to move it alone and asked for help. With the installation complete, Layla reflected that life had gotten more convenient and that maid life was going smoothly maybe. She asked Burgundy about the nicknames like Wise General and Mage General, and Burgundy proudly announced that he was the War General. Layla noted that they were just titles. Chapter 5. Lilac gathered the kitchen staff and announced she was opening the fridge. Inside, the ingredients they had prepped the day before were perfectly preserved. The staff was amazed that nothing had spoiled. They cheered, saying it was going to make things so much easier. One of them praised Lilac, but she said the incredible part was really the fridge and Lord Spruce. Spruce appeared in the kitchen. The staff were shocked to see the Mage General there. Lilac was startled. Spruce looked at the fridge and noted that it was functioning normally. Burgundy suggested that Spruce probably wanted to see if his magic creation actually worked, or maybe he had been lured in by Lilac's good food. Spruce looked annoyed. Spruce had made Sweet's icebox cookies and presented them with a flourish. Burgundy was surprised to see Sweet's. Lilac explained that they were called icebox cookies and that they were easy to make. She described the process. Knead the dough, roll it into a log, chill it, then slice and bake. She told everyone to help themselves during their break. The other staff were confused about why the Maid General was just casually hanging around the kitchen chatting with Lilac normally. Burgundy tried the cookies and said they were delicious and crispy. Spruce asked if they owed it all to the fridge. Lilac said no. Lilac happily mentioned that if they also had a microwave or an oven, things would be even easier. Spruce looked at her and said he had been meaning to ask the other day where was Lilac's hometown exactly. Lilac froze. Spruce pressed further, asking where she had learned about handy tools like refrigerators and microwaves, whether those things were normal where she was from and what kind of magical superpower nation that would be. Lilac stammered, unable to answer. Lilac panicked internally, thinking she didn't know what to do or how to explain it. Spruce stared at her quietly. Lilac decided to ask Spruce something before going on. She noted that he was very knowledgeable about magic in the kingdom, and asked him hypothetically whether magic existed that could transfer someone from a completely different world somewhere that couldn't be reached no matter how far you walked or sailed. Spruce thought about it and said he had never heard of such a thing. He added that there was no record of anyone being summoned from another world. However, he noted that magic that transports people or objects to faraway places did exist, and it was similar. He said it was a very advanced art, so the number of people who could use it was probably limited. Lilac thought to herself that even the Mage General didn't know what had happened to her. Burgundy asked if Lilac's question about another world had something to do with her hometown. Lilac struggled to explain. Before the conversation could continue, Lilac decided to change the subject by announcing she was going to hand out cookies to everyone else. She said it seemed like everyone had been reserved, so she wanted to share. Spruce exclaimed that was his idea. Burgundy told him to wait. Lilac wrapped up cookies and brought them to Spruce and Burgundy, asking them to take them as gifts for the Dragon King and Lord Indigo. Spruce reacted with surprise. Lilac excused herself and ran off. Burgundy and Spruce watched her go, looking confused. Spruce stared at the wrapped cookies in his hand. Lilac told herself there was no way to explain her hometown and there was no point obsessing over what she couldn't solve. She decided to switch gears and focus on work. As she hurried through the hallway, she bumped into someone and fell back. The woman she bumped into told her it was quite all right. Lilac apologized. Topi greeted Lilac and asked what was going on. The other kitchen staff recognized the woman with Topi and were surprised, saying she almost never came to the kitchen. The woman introduced herself to Lilac as Wisteria, the head maid of Dragon King Castle. Lilac was shocked to learn she was the head maid and realized Wisteria was someone very important. Wisteria said she had heard rumors that the kitchen had changed, so she came to see for herself. She confirmed that it was true there was more room to breathe now. Lilac offered Wisteria a cookie. Wisteria called it a cute little sweet and accepted one. Wisteria identified Lilac as the rumored kitchen staff. Lilac eagerly introduced herself. Taupe explained that Lilac was the one who had suggested staff meals and breaks in the kitchen, and that the new breathing room was thanks to that suggestion. The other staff joked that Lilac was completely useless at everything else besides cooking. Wisteria asked if the maids who didn't work in the kitchen could eat the staff meals too. Lilac asked where those maids usually ate. Wisteria explained that they just grabbed whatever was made in the kitchen and ate it standing in the break room. Lilac was shocked, saying that had been her situation too until just yesterday and that it was no wonder everyone was exhausted. Wisteria said she would be grateful if those maids could eat in the kitchen the same way. Lilac agreed immediately and confirmed with Taupe. Taupe happily approved. Wisteria thanked Lilac for the cookies. Wisteria added that things were about to get considerably busy though. Lilac felt good about the kitchen improving and pumped herself up to get to work. Lilac learned that a party was being held at the castle soon. The staff said they would be busier than ever, and Fawn had been on edge non-stop, demanding the finest wine and food. Lilac asked what kind of party needed that much preparation. Magenta said it was obvious. The party was the Dragon King's queen selection. Magenta explained that the Dragon King was the ruler of a country but didn't even have a fiancé, so the important old men were getting impatient. Lilac was surprised. Magenta said it was a strong-arm move. The elders had introduced all kinds of noble young ladies from within the country, but the Dragon King never once said yes. So they decided to look for a bride from another country, especially with the neighboring kingdom. Lilac asked about the neighbor. Magenta explained that the neighboring kingdom was called the Kingdom of Vavel. Vavel was a superpower that split the continent with the Dragon Kingdom, and they were always looking for a chance to go after the Dragon Kingdom's wealth. On top of that, Vavel's queen was obsessed with the Dragon King. She sent him gifts without permission and barged into parties without invitations. Lilac thought that sounded creepy. Burgundy said he wondered who would even want someone that intense and suggested a political marriage might actually be perfect. Magenta said no. Every time the Queen of Vavel was rejected she got angry, and the grand finale was always her army showing up to attack. Lilac and Burgundy agreed it was just a total pain, and Burgundy said there would probably be another forced entry into this party too. Lilac thought to herself that choosing a queen in political marriages sounded tough and that it must be hard being powerful. She wondered if even the Dragon King had his own preferences. Indigo was lecturing Raphael about the banquet confirmation. While Indigo spoke, Burgundy interrupted and presented the cookies Lilac had made using the refrigerator, saying she wanted to give them to the Dragon King as well. Raphael smirked and recalled Lilac's promise to make even better meals. An older official called out to the Dragon King, asking if he was even listening. Raphael apologized and said they were discussing the banquet. The officials pressed him, saying he needed to settle down and that their worries would never end. They told him to give the matter his most serious consideration and insisted that at the next banquet he must choose a queen candidate without fail. Raphael stared back at them silently. The Dragon King's marriage hunting party was almost here. Between prepping the venue and getting all the food ready, the whole castle was going nuts. Lilac was getting to sit in on the menu planning meeting. She learned that the party would not be a course meal but a buffet where guests could portion out their favorite dishes. The staff discussed the plan. Lilac suggested they stock up on a bunch of cold dishes they could keep in the fridge, since on the day of they would definitely be swamped just keeping the hot food coming. For desserts, she suggested focusing on baked goods they could prep the day before and just decorate on the day. The head cook was grateful, thanking the fridge for making it all possible. They agreed on the plan and decided to prep whatever they could right away. The day before the party arrived, the kitchen was in chaos. Topi barked orders, telling the staff that the side dishes were ready and to get another 50 servings in the fridge. She called for more veggies for the chilled soup and demanded a bigger pot. Lilac noted how swamped everything was. She admitted she couldn't make fancy party food, so the least she could do was help with veggie prep. Fawn stormed through asking if the plates and cutlery had been polished yet, raging that the glasses weren't done either. He said he had told them all of this ahead of time. Lilac apologized. Fawn told the staff they should have the maids outside the kitchen help too and demanded more hands immediately. Lilac perked up, wanting to volunteer. Fawn glared at her and told her she was absolutely not to touch the dishes. Lilac deflated. Fawn muttered that when Lilac got involved, nothing good happened, and that she just made more work at a time like this. Lilac said she would just grab a snack from the outside fridge. Fawn told her to wait. Lilac went to the outside fridge to get snack ingredients. She noted it was packed solid and worried that cramming it so full would kill the cooling. She spotted cookie dough in the back and reached for it. The fridge wobbled. Raphael appeared and caught Lilac as she was about to fall off the counter. Lilac was stunned to realize it was the Dragon King who had grabbed her. Raphael set her down and asked if she was alright, saying he just happened to be passing by and she looked like she was about to fall. Lilac apologized profusely, thanking him for saving her. Lilac asked Raphael why he was in the kitchen area. Raphael awkwardly said he was just taking a walk. Lilac realized he was actually skipping work and told him she was in the same category, hiding from Fawn. Lilac excitedly mentioned that tomorrow was finally the party. Raphael went quiet. The moment became awkward. Lilac wondered if she had said something wrong. Lilac said she should get back to work since she had to make the snack cookies. Raphael reacted, asking about snacks. Lilac explained that she served them with tea during everyone's break time. Raphael mentioned he had also gotten some sweets she made through Spruce. He told her they were delicious. He thanked Lilac and asked if he could have some more, saying sweet stuff helped when he was worn out. Lilac agreed enthusiastically. Raphael said he would eat while he worked and told her to bring them to his office. Lilac asked if the usual dining room was fine. Raphael said no, his office. Lilac agreed. Raphael told Lilac he would see her later. Indigo appeared and said she had finally found Raphael, calling him Rapha and telling him not to escape while he was supposed to be working. Raphael said he had just stepped out to clear his head and was going back. Indigo said that was plenty of fresh air for one day and mentioned Burgundy had been running around looking for him. Raphael ran off. Indigo called after Lilac and told her not to forget. Spruce turned to look at Lilac as well. Lilac wheeled a cart with tea and sweets through the hallway, thinking that Lilac never stopped surprising her. The other kitchen staff were shocked that the Dragon King had requested sweets. Taupe was in a frenzy about preparing tea. Magenta noted she had never seen Taupe like that before. Lilac apologized for making Magenta help out. Magenta said it was fine since Lilac would probably break the dishes before they even got there. Lilac admitted that was fair. Magenta told Lilac to be serious, calling her by her name. She said that to low-ranking servants like them, the Dragon King was practically untouchable, and asked Lilac to think of the most important person she knew before coming to the castle. Lilac was confused and asked why everyone was so afraid of him. Magenta was stunned. Lilac panicked, asking Magenta what to do. Magenta said there was nothing they could do and they just had to go. Fawn appeared and told them not to make a racket in the hallway. He ordered them to get in there now if they were ready. They entered the Dragon King's office. Raphael looked up and greeted Lilac. Lilac was impressed, thinking the office was elegant and calm. Magenta reminded her it was not the time to be giddy. Lilac presented the sweets she had brought. Raphael said he would eat here. Fawn set down tea while Lilac and Magenta stood nervously in the room. Lilac explained that the white cookies were plain and the others had dried fruit mixed in. Raphael acknowledged this and told them they could leave. Lilac began to excuse herself, but Raphael stopped her, telling Lilac to stay. Both Lilac and Fawn were confused. Raphael told Fawn he could leave. Fawn protested, but Raphael told him to bring a chair for Lilac, saying he wished to hear more about the sweets. Fawn reluctantly obeyed. Magenta encouraged Lilac from the doorway as she and Fawn left. Raphael told Lilac to sit. She was bewildered but nervously took the ornate chair that had been brought in. The room fell silent. Lilac recalled Magenta's words that to low-ranking servants the Dragon King was practically royalty. She realized Magenta was right and that she was still thinking like a modern person. She still didn't really get how important he was. She glanced over at Raphael. Lilac nervously asked if Raphael meant the cookies. He confirmed. She watched as he tasted one. Raphael said they were just as delicious as he had hoped and that they almost made one forget how weary one was. Lilac was glad. Raphael asked if Lilac was good at cooking. Lilac said good was a stretch and that she could barely manage. She told him that seeing him enjoy it so much made her really happy but admitted that he was truly out of her league. She said that as she had mentioned before she was hopeless at everything else, cleaning laundry she messed up constantly. Raphael noted that was why another maid had come along today. Lilac confirmed that the head cook probably worried she would screw something up and she was counting on Magenta for everything else. Raphael commented that Lilac seemed to have settled in pretty well. Lilac happily agreed, saying everyone called her Lila, it was a nickname and people called her that enough that it stuck. Raphael repeated the name quietly. Lilac asked about his name, confirming that the Dragon King's name was Raphael. She noted that only his close aides called him Rafa. Lilac told him it was a gorgeous name and that it suited him perfectly. Raphael quietly said thanks. The two of them talked together in the office for a while. Raphael apologized for keeping Lilac so long. Lilac said it was not a problem at all and that if it helped him relax, she was happy to help. Raphael remembered something and told Lilac he had almost forgotten to tell her. Lilac spotted the black dragon outside the window and exclaimed that she had run into it the day she fell into this world. She suggested that next time Raphael sneaked out for a walk he should bring his pet dragon since it would be way less suspicious. Raphael was confused by the word pet. Raphael stared for a moment, then burst out laughing. He found it hilarious that Lilac had called a dragon his pet. Lilac was confused, asking if it wasn't. Raphael kept laughing, saying Lilac was quite interesting. He told her he hadn't laughed like that in ages. He said that when he was with her he felt lighter. Lilac asked if he was making fun of her. Raphael said no, he meant it. He smiled at her and said he was glad she came, calling her Layla. Lilac's heart pounded. She stood frozen for a moment after leaving his office, flustered by his smile. She thought it was a total sneak attack and that he knew what he was doing. She slapped her cheeks and told herself to snap out of it. She reminded herself that tomorrow was finally the party, and declared she was going all out, even a low-ranking maid like her. Chapter 7. The staff gathered outside the building ready for the big day. Someone asked if everyone was ready, then announced that the party had already begun and told everyone to give it their all. The staff responded with enthusiasm. Layla approached Tope and asked what she should do. Tope said she would like to tell Layla to just stay put, but admitted that without help it would be a real pain since it did not look like they would have time to eat anyway. Wisteria called out to Layla and told her to come help. Layla asked nervously if Wisteria was going to tell her to serve the food. Wisteria told her not to worry and said she would not. Wisteria explained that she wanted Layla to be their eyes on the floor, letting them know when the platters were running low and offering drinks to the guests. Wisteria told Layla that she was surprisingly good at calmly observing situations. Layla was caught off guard, thinking it was the first time anyone had ever praised her like that, though she only looked around out of curiosity. Wisteria said she was counting on her, and Layla agreed eagerly, saying she would observe with everything she had. A maid asked Layla if she should get her ready. Layla's eyes went wide when she saw all the makeup tools laid out. She was excited that it was a makeup set from this world and thought it was cute. The maid told her to feel free to use anything she liked. Wisteria told Layla that since she would be in front of guests she needed to look presentable but not too flashy. Layla agreed and decided to go for a front desk clerk look. She started identifying the primer and powder, then the blush and eye makeup, noting it had been a long time since she had done a full face of makeup. She was impressed by the quality, thinking the cosmetics were department store level. Wisteria was surprised, remarking that Layla really took makeup well and that she looked even cuter than usual. She offered to fix Layla's hair a little. Layla said she could do it herself, but Wisteria insisted. Wisteria complimented the result, saying Layla looked like a very capable girl and could even pass as the Dragon King's personal maid. Wisteria commented on Layla's hair color, asking if it would be called chestnut and saying it had a soft and lovely quality. She noted that most people in this country had dark hair and that it seemed to be a trait unique to this country. Layla thought about how she had never really given her hair color much thought and guessed it just meant she was a person from another world. Wisteria finished doing her hair. Layla looked at herself and said it was wonderful. She thanked Wisteria, who told her she was welcome. Wisteria then said they should do their best today, and Layla agreed. Layla entered the party hall and was amazed by how dazzling it was. She thought it was just like something out of a fairy tale world. She noted that every lady there was gorgeous and elegant. The ladies were sparkling and competing fiercely with one another. Layla figured it was basically a battle over a highly desirable bachelor, and every lady was clearly out for the win tonight. An announcement was made for the arrival of the Dragon King, and Layla thought he was going to be overwhelmed. The Dragon King entered the hall accompanied by another man. The crowd reacted with awe. The guests praised him, saying he looked cool even dressed in all black and that he was beautiful. Layla was also caught off guard by how he looked. Someone told Layla to get to work, snapping her out of it. Music began to play as the orchestra performed. Layla got busy with her duties, reporting that some guests over there wanted something more filling and that a young lady wanted a new plate. She remarked to herself how busy it was. A beautiful woman with long hair called out to Layla and asked if she could bring her a drink. Layla was struck by what an alluring beauty the woman was and how intense her presence was. She quickly agreed to bring her a drink. The woman looked at Layla and said it was her, seeming to recognize her. Layla was confused. The woman laughed softly and greeted Layla, saying it was a great honor to finally meet her. Layla was puzzled and wondered if she had met the woman somewhere before, since she did not recall ever being greeted like that. The woman ordered some fruit wine. Layla went to get it, asking another servant to bring fruit wine to the lady in the pink dress. The servant was shocked and told Layla that the woman was the queen. Layla realized the woman was the infamous queen of Vavel. She was even more confused about why the queen had greeted her. The Dragon King was sitting on a raised area, looking out at the party floor. A man asked if a certain young lady had caught his attention. The Dragon King called the man Indigo. Indigo greeted him cheerfully. The Dragon King claimed he was merely lost in thought. Indigo pointed out that a certain someone was refusing to dance with anyone and that he was the one breaking his back to keep the floor going, adding that Burgundy was also out there working hard. Indigo suggested that if someone had caught the Dragon King's eye, he should just go and talk to them. The Dragon King replied that it was easier said than done. Vaughn approached the Dragon King and told him it was really about time he chose someone to dance with. Nobles were pestering Vaughn, asking him to have the Dragon King dance with their daughters. Vaughn pleaded with the Dragon King, saying that for the sake of appearances before other nobles he would at least like him to dance with one of the ladies they had selected. The Dragon King sighed. Wisteria observed that Vaughn had gone to try to persuade the Dragon King several times now. She noted that although they had invited a lot of ladies tonight, the real candidates had been narrowed down beforehand. Layla remarked that Vaughn was caught between the bigwigs and the Dragon King, like a middleman. The Queen of Vavel made her move, approaching the Dragon King. The Dragon King stood up and Layla noted it looked like Vaughn had finally worn him down. Layla pointed out the primary candidate. The Dragon King walked past the Queen of Vavel and headed toward a different lady, ignoring the Queen. He extended his hand to another woman. Layla watched and felt a strange tug in her chest. Layla wondered what the feeling was and why she felt so restless. She told herself it should not matter to her who the Dragon King danced with since she was just a servant. Indigo appeared behind Layla and told her she looked quite downcast. Layla was startled to see him. Layla asked Indigo if it was okay for him not to be by the Dragon King's side. Indigo said the Dragon King was fine and was in the middle of a dance right now, though it was quite the mechanical dance. He explained that he had noticed Rafa was staring quite intently at this particular corner of the room, so he came over and saw the miso soup girl was here, and simply spoke to her. Indigo sighed and said that personally he wanted Rafa to find someone soon, not to mention the Dragon King. He added that as Rafa's childhood friend he supposed he could not very well go stealing a march on him. Layla asked Wisteria what exactly her relationship with Lord Indigo was, noting they were so casual with each other that it seemed totally informal. Wisteria smiled and simply said that Indigo was her son. Layla was completely shocked. Layla noticed that now that Wisteria mentioned it, their vibe and hair color were similar. She thought she really did not understand how relationships worked in this castle. Layla realized that since Wisteria was the head maid and a servant, that would mean Lord Indigo was not a noble either. She thought that the Dragon King really did not seem hung up on his retainer's social rank. Layla reflected that the Dragon King was kind to her and even looked out for her, but she corrected herself, thinking that he was a ruler and was simply generous to everyone. Layla thought about how there was still so much she did not know about the Dragon King or the Dragon King castle. The Queen of Vavel was visibly frustrated, grinding her teeth after the Dragon King had passed her by. The party eventually ended, and Layla sighed with relief, saying the party was finally over. She started wiping down the tables to finish up. Magenta came running in and said she had been looking everywhere for Layla. Layla asked what was up and if something had happened. Magenta told her she had to get back to the kitchen immediately. Layla asked if there was a problem. Magenta said calling it a problem was not quite right, but explained that the Dragon King had started saying he wanted miso soup. Layla was shocked. She questioned whether the Dragon King wanted a midnight snack at that hour. Layla was preparing miso soup as requested by Lord Dragon King. She wondered what to put in it and thought that since it was late she should stick to vegetables that were easy to digest. Thanks to the party they had plenty of ingredients. She then noticed something on a plate. She tasted it and found that its softness and rich bean flavor made it basically tofu. She thought it had been meant for salad and wondered how it tasted. Someone called out to Layla asking if the miso soup was ready yet. Startled, Layla apologized. She decided to go with whatever vegetables they had along with the tofu-like ingredient, saying simple was best. Layla told Magenta the miso soup was done, and to ladle it up quickly. Magenta asked where they were taking it. Layla said they were going to Lord Dragon King's private chambers. Magenta was shocked and asked if they were even allowed to go there. Layla said of course not, and that they would leave it with Wistaria at the entrance. Magenta was relieved. Layla figured her job was done once she got it that far. Wistaria apologized for the late hour and said they would take their leave. The Dragon King, who had been reading, ordered everyone but Layla to leave. Layla was confused. The Dragon King closed his book and told them to wait. Wistaria wondered why this kept happening. Layla was nervous about being alone with His Majesty in his private chambers. She internally noted that he looked good even in loungewear. The Dragon King apologized for the sudden demand, mentioning there had been a whole feast waiting at the party. He told Layla not to be so cross, saying it would be a waste to ruin such a cute face. Layla was flustered at being called cute. The Dragon King told Layla she looked different from usual and asked if she was wearing makeup. Layla confirmed she was. Surprised that he had noticed, she internally thought that noticing such a tiny change and complimenting her so naturally was unfair. The Dragon King was already eating. She noted he was quite a free spirit. Layla mentioned that today's miso soup was pretty simple since he was eating so late, and she had thought something easy to digest would be best. The Dragon King called her kind, and said her miso soup was truly exceptional. Layla said it was just basic home cooking. He replied that was exactly why he liked it. The Dragon King explained that for him meals had always involved being scolded for his etiquette or sitting through gossip and flattery from nobles at social events. Those meals were tasteless and hollow. He said he was always under 100 watchful eyes, and even today he was met with nothing but stares pressuring him to marry. The Dragon King told Layla that when he was with her he could forget all those things. He said that if she could prepare miso soup for him every day like this and simply protect that small bit of happiness, that would be all he needed. Layla internally panicked, thinking he had just casually said something incredible. She thought asking someone to make miso soup every day was basically a proposal. She tried to calm herself down, telling herself he just really liked miso soup. She told him that miso soup alone was not good for his health and that he needed to eat other things as well. The Dragon King simply asked if that was so. Layla thought that if he had spent the whole party just eating, that would have been rude. She also thought that sitting on the throne with a stone-cold expression and not dancing with anyone was already plenty rude. But she told herself she could never actually say that to him. She agreed with him but then asked Lord Dragon King if he had disliked the party. The Dragon King said Layla had worked quite hard today. She asked if he had been watching her. He said you could see a lot from the throne. He told her she had seemed busy yet was always so full of life. Layla admitted she had fun. The Dragon King looked surprised. Layla said it had been a lot of work, but she had never seen such a glamorous party in her life. The young ladies were all in gorgeous dresses. The music and the dancing were all like a dream, and it was a world she had always longed for. The Dragon King went quiet for a moment. Layla called out to him. He stood up and said that unfortunately there was no music. Layla was confused. The Dragon King extended his hand and asked Layla to dance with him to wrap up tonight's party. Layla protested that she had never done anything like dancing before and that her clothes were not appropriate. The Dragon King told her it was simple and added that she was plenty cute even without dressing up. Layla was flustered. He told her to follow his lead, starting with her right foot. They danced together, counting 1, 2, 3. The Dragon King told Layla she was doing quite well. Layla asked if the Dragon King hated dancing. He replied that it depended on the partner. Layla thought that he would not stop making her heart race tonight. She felt as if she had become the heroine of a fairy tale. Layla began humming a melody as they danced. The Dragon King asked about the song, saying it was a melody he did not know. Layla explained it was a song that had been famous in her homeland. The Dragon King remarked that she truly had come from a very distant place. The Dragon King mentioned that he had let Layla stay at the castle for the time being but had just been leaving her to her own devices since then. Layla assured him it was fine since she had nowhere else to go and just being allowed to stay was a lifesaver. The Dragon King then asked if she would not mind him asking about her homeland. He asked if she had any family or friends there. Layla admitted that the truth was she had been trying not to think about it for a long time. With no way home in sight, she felt like she was just drifting in limbo. She did not even know who to ask or who to turn to. The Dragon King apologized, asking if he had brought up something difficult. Layla told him not to worry about her since she was pretty oblivious and hard-headed. She said everyone at the castle had been so kind to her and she had really started to love the castle and everyone in it. The Dragon King looked caught off guard. Layla noticed the time and apologized for talking so long. She asked if she should take her leave now. The Dragon King agreed. Layla thanked him for his hard work and said goodnight. He opened the door for her. She hurried off through the hallway. The Dragon King watched her go in silence. At another castle, the Queen of Vavel was furious. She smashed a glass and demanded to know the meaning of this. outraged that they would treat the Queen of Vavel with such contempt. She asked why he would not understand. An attendant asked if she was injured. The queen gazed at a portrait of the Dragon King. She ordered her attendant to see to the usual arrangements. She vowed that this time she would make him understand just how deeply she adored him. Layla was told she had an errand to run. She learned that they had run out of spices since they had used so many for the party. Miss Taupe apologized and asked Layla to make a quick trip to the market in town, giving her a map and a list of items. Layla was excited, saying she had never been outside the castle before and wondering what the market was like. She was thrilled about her first solo errand. Layla arrived at the Dragon Kingdom's marketplace and was amazed by all the shops and people. She noticed they had vegetables, fruit, meat, and all kinds of things. Everywhere was so lively that it made her want to check it all out. She started looking around for where they sold spices. She then noticed a familiar-looking person nearby. Layla realized it was the Dragon King wearing a hooded cloak. She tried to convince herself it was not him, wondering what would make the king of an entire country hang out in a place like this. She tried to scurry away, telling herself it was definitely not him. The Dragon King called out to her, asking if she was just going to ignore him. Layla insisted she was not ignoring him and said she thought it was just someone who looked a lot like him since she never imagined he would be there. The Dragon King apologized if he startled her and explained that he was there on an inspection. He said he sneaked out like this once in a while so he could observe the town in a more natural state. Layla asked what would happen if someone figured out who he was. The Dragon King said it was fine since Burgundy was nearby as well. He explained that he and Burgundy would not stand out once they were in disguise and that Layla had only recognized him because she already knew him. He then told Layla that if anything she was the one standing out. The Dragon King pointed out Layla's chestnut hair and smoky quartz eyes, saying they were rare in this country. Layla recalled that Miss Wistaria had also said something like that the other day. She panicked and asked if she really stood out that much and whether she should hide, suggesting she could throw a basket over her head. The Dragon King laughed and told her she did not need to go that far. A vendor called out to them, offering fresh tarichka and calling them lovebirds. Layla panicked at being called lovebirds. The Dragon King simply said he would take 2. He handed one to Layla, telling her to be careful since it was hot. She thanked him and tried it, saying it was delicious and chewy. The Dragon King was glad to hear that and explained that tarichka was a traditional snack in this country. He then said it was good, but did not compare to Layla's cookies. Layla told him he was giving her way too much credit since she was just a servant. Layla thought about how she was walking through town side by side with the Dragon King. She told him it felt really safe there. He asked if she thought so. She said it was her first time outside the castle, but the town was pretty and everyone was so kind and that even a woman like her was perfectly fine walking around alone. The Dragon King agreed and said most of the country was like this. He added that even if Vavel attacked again, he wanted to make sure the place remained peaceful. Layla asked about Vavel, noting that they attacked pretty often. The Dragon King said they would attack again sooner or later since they never learned. Layla noticed his distant stare. She suggested that maybe he should just sign a peace treaty with them. The Dragon King sighed and said Vavel was the sort to tear something like that up without a second thought. Layla started to say that since Vavel wanted to form a marriage alliance with the Dragon King, maybe he should, but the Dragon King cut her off, asking what she meant by that. Layla quickly said it was nothing and apologized. The Dragon King asked what had brought Layla to the market. She suddenly remembered that Miss Taupe had asked her to pick up spices and panicked, saying she did not have time to mess around. The Dragon King looked at her map and pointed out where the shop she was looking for was located. Layla thanked him and asked if he was heading back to the castle. He said he would continue his inspection for a bit longer. Layla bowed and said she would take her leave, asking him to be careful. The Dragon King called out to her and asked if she was making soup again today. Layla happily confirmed she would put her whole heart into it today as well. Burgundy appeared and told the Dragon King that next time he spotted someone he knew, he should call out to them instead of grabbing their arm first, saying people would think he was some kind of creep. The Dragon King watched Layla leave with a smile. Layla was in a great mood the next day, thinking about how much fun yesterday had been. She said she had gotten to see the market and talk about so many things with His Majesty. She wondered if it had basically been a date. The other staff noticed her giddiness. Miss Taupe asked Magenta if they had been working Layla too much. Magenta grinned and said it looked like Layla was fine. They told Layla she could step outside for a bit and take a break, suggesting she take a walk in the garden. Layla accepted their offer and headed outside. She was amazed by the spacious garden and how pretty it was, noting it was the fruit of the gardener's hard work. She chatted with some of the gardeners. She thought about how everyone at the castle and down in town worked so hard. They all had their own lives, a place to return to, and a family. She thought about herself and trailed off. Someone asked if she was on another errand. Layla turned around and found the Dragon King standing there in the garden. She jokingly asked if he was slacking off again. He said they sure ran into each other a lot. He explained that he had been working in his room and saw her in the garden. Rafa had told him he could go if he was curious, and that she would not mind if he slacked off this time. The Dragon King insisted he had only come to catch his breath for a bit. Layla pointed out that it was the same thing. Layla said she had been officially granted a break, insisting she was not slacking off. The Dragon King agreed she had a point. Layla thought about how the Dragon King always showed up as if he was coming to stand by her side. She mentioned that the kitchen staff had finally found some breathing room. Layla said Miss Topi, Magenta, and even Mr. Vaughn had all been so kind to her, though Vaughn could be a bit fussy. Layla said that even today they had told her she could take a stroll in the garden during her break. She commented that the weather was nice and the flowers were pretty, so she felt like she had lucked out. The Dragon King noticed the flowers and said there was actually something he had wanted to give her. Layla was confused. The Dragon King presented Layla with a bouquet of flowers, saying it was for her. Layla recognized them as cherry tree flowers. She exclaimed that they were called sakura blossoms in her hometown. The Dragon King said he had thought so, explaining that Layla always put ingredients shaped like them in her miso soup. He had figured they were connected to her hometown, so after she had left the night before, he had searched for flowers that looked like them. Layla began to cry. The Dragon King called out to her, concerned. She thought about Japan, her hometown, the world she used to live in, the people she had left behind, and those nostalgic memories. The Dragon King asked if she was all right. She apologized and admitted that she had been scared and anxious the whole time. She wondered what had happened to the version of herself that had lived there after she collapsed. She asked herself that if she had really died back there, then what was she now? She had fallen into an unfamiliar place out of nowhere with no idea what was going on, and had just kept acting cheerful and throwing herself into any work she could, just to be accepted. The Dragon King apologized and said it seemed he had been placing a burden on her after all. Layla tried to deny it. He told her not to force herself to bear everything alone. He asked her to tell him more about where she was from, and said that if she wished to return he would do everything in his power to find a way. He then added that if Layla were gone, Layla started to respond, but they were interrupted. She asked what something in the sky was, wondering if it was a swarm of bugs. The Dragon King looked up and his expression changed. Flying creatures carrying soldiers on magic circles descended toward the castle. It was Vavel's forces. They were under attack. Lilac panicked at the sight of an enemy attack, stunned by the large number of flying creatures approaching. She wondered what she should do. The Dragon King called Burgundy to come with him. Burgundy told Lilac to stand back. Burgundy activated a magic circle beneath his feet and launched himself into the air. Lilac was shocked to see Burgundy flying. The Dragon King explained that it was the power of the magic gear. The Dragon King stated that Burgundy's gear was imbued with a special kind of magic which made aerial combat possible. Lord Spruce arrived, and Lilac called out to him. Spruce explained that he had sensed a massive surge of magic and came to investigate, and that it seemed like Vavel again. The Dragon King told Spruce that he was counting on him to provide ground support. Spruce was caught off guard and asked about the Dragon King. Spruce was struck by one of the flying creatures. He braced himself and blocked the attack. A massive dragon appeared in the sky. Lilac muttered the words Dragon King in disbelief. She could not believe that it was really the Dragon King himself. The Dragon King, now in his dragon form, tore through the enemy forces alongside the soldiers on the ground. The enemies swooped down on the town and people cried out that the enemy was attacking. Spruce and Lilac watched the battle from below. Spruce told Lilac that it was dangerous and ordered her to get inside immediately. Lilac tried to protest, but Spruce shielded her and told her to hurry and go get Indigo and call for backup. Lilac agreed and ran off. Lilac ran through the area calling out for Lord Indigo but could not find him. She told people to find shelter indoors and to hurry. She ran into Layla and then Magenta and Miss Topi appeared, saying they had finally found her. They explained that they had been worried because she was out in the garden and asked if it was another attack by Vavel. Lilac said she was alright, but more importantly, Lord Spruce had told her to get Lord Indigo immediately. Miss Topi told someone to deliver that message at once. Magenta told them they needed to take shelter in the Great Hall. Lilac agreed but hesitated. A loud crash was heard nearby, startling them. Lilac heard the sound and started running back outside. Magenta called after her, telling her to wait because it was dangerous outside. Lilac acknowledged the danger but said she was worried, looking up at the sky filled with flying enemies. The Dragon King fought the winged creatures in the air. He tore one of them apart. Soldiers on the ground called out to warn the Dragon King about enemies behind him. Lilac watched the battle and said it was incredible. Burgundy slashed through one of the enemy creatures while fighting alongside the Dragon King. He took a hit and grunted in pain. Lilac and Magenta both cried out his name in worry. Burgundy struck an armored enemy soldier, but the armor clattered apart and fell to pieces. It turned out to be a dummy. Burgundy was confused. Someone explained that it was the power of the Queen of Vavel. Lord Indigo appeared on the castle walls with a line of soldiers behind him. Indigo declared that the enemies were nothing but wooden puppets and that there was no need to hold back. Indigo ordered the magic bow squad to take aim. Indigo gave the order to fire. A volley of arrows rained down on the enemies. Spruce looked up and recognized it as the work of Indigo's archer unit. Spruce used his weapon to deflect incoming arrows. The arrows were glowing and gaining speed. Lilac was amazed by the bows, noting that they were glowing and kept gaining speed. Magenta praised Spires, saying the timing of his mana enchantments was spot on. The magic bow arrows struck the flying enemies. Burgundy noticed the support and asked if those were reinforcements from Spruce and Indigo. He confirmed they were. Burgundy declared it was time to strike and that they would settle it in one go. A massive attack hit the remaining dragon enemies, wiping them out. Magenta and Lilac watched the explosion from below. Lilac noticed the Dragon King glancing her way and wondered if she had just made eye contact with His Majesty. She dismissed the thought, telling herself she must be imagining it. The soldiers announced that the enemy was retreating. Indigo confirmed that they had successfully repelled them. Lilac ran up to the Dragon King, still in his dragon form, and called out to him. The Dragon King said her name. He asked if she was hurt. Then he asked if his dragon form scared her. Lilac said it did not scare her at all, and that she actually thought he looked really cool. She admitted she was a little shocked at first, but added that it was because he had fought for everyone's sake. She said Lord Raphael was still Lord Raphael after all. She then nervously brought up the time she had called him a monster when they first met. Raphael reverted to his human form while standing close to Lilac. He told her that she truly was something else. The group returned to a large hall where injured people were being treated. Burgundy yelled in pain as Magenta treated his wounds. Magenta scolded him, saying that if he was a war general, he should try to win without getting a scratch. Lilac told Magenta to be a little more gentle. Burgundy told Magenta to shut it and called her a musclehead. Someone remarked that they sure were lively. Magenta admitted that she had gained a little respect for Burgundy this time. Spruce sighed and scolded Burgundy for breaking his magic gear again, asking if he had any idea how much trouble it was to recharge that thing even once. Lilac arrived and found Magenta with Burgundy and Lord Spruce. Someone asked where to keep all the junk the enemy had left behind. Magenta said to leave it all to Lord Spruce, explaining that he could create a magic circle and toss everything in, and then the trash would rain back down on the Vavel kingdom. She found it super convenient, and wished she had one for her own room. Lilac commented that magic really made anything possible, from the puppet soldiers to the magic bow. Spruce corrected her, saying that what Rafa did was special, since the Dragon King had transformed into a dragon to fight. Spruce explained that Raphael's power was an immense ability passed down through the royal line alone. He described it as a noble and special dragon blood different from magic power, and stated it was the very proof of the Dragon King. Lilac repeated the words noble and special to herself. Burgundy added that it was exactly why the Queen of Vavel must be so obsessed with him. Lilac reflected that she had no idea and that she had even ended up mistaking him for a mere pet. She thought about how gentle he was with her and how he radiated a warm presence, realizing that by nature he was far too special a person. Popping sounds were heard outside. People wondered what it was, asking if it was fireworks, but noted it could not be in broad daylight. Others asked if it was another attack. Lilac went outside to see what was happening. Something exploded in the sky, and she was stunned. Fragments of memories rushed into Lilac's mind. She asked herself what they were and whether they were her memories. She recalled someone telling her that from now on she would go to the Dragon Kingdom, and that when the time came she would guide them to the Dragon Kingdom. The signal would be fireworks. The memory continued, with the person saying that at the sound of the fireworks she would remember everything. Magenta noticed Lilac acting strangely and called her name. Lilac clutched her head and said she remembered. She declared that she was from Vavel. Layla recalled that everything was coming back to her. She remembered that she had been a modern Japanese woman who slipped on some beer cans scattered across the floor. She was certain she had died there, and then it seemed that she had been sent to the Dragon Kingdom, but before that she wondered why of all things she had been reincarnated as a Vavelian. She had grown up to be a very ordinary Vavelian for over 20 years, until a fateful moment, a knight came and told her that Her Majesty the Queen wanted to see her. Layla was confused and asked if she had done something wrong. She panicked, thinking she did not remember doing anything worth praising and was sure she was getting fired. The knight told her to just follow him. The knight brought Layla before the queen, who was accompanied by the royal court diviner's aide. Layla was stunned to see the queen herself. The queen told her she had been waiting and invited Layla to sit down. The queen told Layla to relax and that she was not going to bite. She said she just wanted to talk with some tea. Layla nervously helped herself. She noticed the tea was a little sweet and had an unusual flavor, and that it smelled fancy. The queen laughed and told her not to hold back. The queen then said she had a very serious favor to ask of Layla. The queen asked Layla if to the people of Vavel, the Dragon Kingdom was considered an evil country. Layla confirmed that was the case. The common belief in Vavel was that the Dragon Kingdom, which split the continent with Vavel, was a country set on destroying anything that did not align with them, seizing lands and harassing its people. Layla admitted that at the time she also believed it and took it for granted. The queen pointed out that the current Dragon King was so powerful that Vavel just kept on losing. The queen said that since they could not destroy the Dragon Kingdom from the outside, they would have to do it from the inside. Layla was confused and asked what that had to do with her. The queen told her to just listen. The queen wanted Layla to infiltrate the Dragon Kingdom, and when the time was right, usher Vavel's soldiers into the Dragon King's castle. The queen explained that they would send Layla a signal using fireworks when the time was right. The queen also gave Layla a smoke signal to use when she got the perfect chance, which would signal the troops to move in. She told Layla that once she saw the fireworks, all she had to do was act. The smoke signal also had a magic spell within it that would scatter a confusion spell over the area. While the spell was active, Vavel's main forces would invade the Dragon King's castle. Layla was shocked and asked if she would be the one doing all of that. She protested that she was just a lowly cook and did not think she could pull it off. The queen confirmed it. The royal court diviner's aide explained that the water mirror had declared it so. He described it as the power of foresight from ancient magic and that it had designated Layla as the one most suited for the mission. He added that if they sent Layla to the Dragon Kingdom, she would surely set something in motion. The aide wholeheartedly agreed with the queen. Layla pointed out that the prophecy saying she would set something in motion was awfully vague. The queen said it was still better than sitting around doing nothing, and that was just how oracles from magic mirrors worked. Layla panicked and insisted she was the last person who should be sent on a secret mission. She told the queen there must be someone better for the job. The queen asked if Layla had enjoyed the tea with medicine in it. Layla realized in shock that she had drunk the tea without thinking. The queen noted that it would be terrible if Layla slipped up and blurted out she was from Vavel, and mentioned that while Layla's cooking skills were good, she was rumored to be a bit of a klutz. Layla's head started spinning. The queen told her to be a good girl and forget every memory she had. She explained that if Layla did not remember, she would not slip up. The queen assured her that the effects of the medicine would fade after their operation was over. The queen declared that she would have the Dragon King in his Dragon Kingdom. She told Layla to do her best, calling her a lowly maid. Layla lost consciousness as the queen handed her a scroll. Layla snapped back to the present. Magenta called out to her asking if she was okay and what was wrong, saying she had suddenly spaced out. Layla greeted Magenta and apologized. She thought to herself that she could not believe she had suddenly regained all of her memories. Layla reflected on everything. In her previous life she had already died. There was never a way to go back to her original world in the first place. On top of that, she had been reincarnated in this world as a Vavelian, and was used by the queen, even losing her memories in the process, which was how she ended up in the Dragon Kingdom. Magenta noticed Layla looking unwell and offered to get the head nurse. Layla quickly stopped her. Layla told Magenta that she had always believed the Dragon Kingdom was an evil place and never thought to question it or doubt it. But the real Dragon Kingdom was full of kind, warm people. They had tried to give someone as lonely as her a place where she could belong. Magenta looked surprised. Layla decided that from now on she was going to live a proper life. She recalled meaning those words back then. She told Magenta to listen, saying that if that was the case she needed to make her own decisions starting now. There was something she had to tell everyone. Layla gathered the kitchen staff. Everyone stood in shock. Someone asked if she was really from Vavel. Others muttered that it could not be and wondered if she was an enemy spy. Miss Tope told them to quiet down. Miss Tope asked Layla what she was planning to do now. She declared that this was the kitchen, and while Layla was in there she was under Miss Tope's authority. She asked if Layla was going to say something ridiculous like she would betray them. Layla said she was not. Miss Tope said she knew it and that Layla was not the type of girl who would do that. Layla asked if Miss Tope believed her. A man with glasses protested, telling them to stop and think about it, saying the memory loss story could be a total sham. Miss Tope dismissed him, asking what kind of nonsense he was saying. She pointed out that if Layla were truly one of the bad guys, they all would have been poisoned ages ago. The man admitted she had a point. Miss Tope added that Layla had changed them in how they worked and thought for the better. Magenta agreed as well. The other kitchen staff members spoke up in Layla's defense, saying their work had not been as good until she came along. They said she was a total klutz but always cheerful, and the staff meals she made were enjoyable. The whole place felt brighter with her. Layla looked at everyone and addressed Tope, Magenta, and the others. Tope declared that they believed in Layla because they knew she was as sincere as they come. Layla thanked everyone. The staff cheered. The man with glasses noted that they still could not let the matter slide. He said the matter would be reported to the Dragon King and they would await his judgment, and that depending on the result, Layla should prepare herself for appropriate punishments. Layla collapsed onto her bed, exhausted. She looked at the tube she had with her and remembered that it had been in her pocket when she arrived. She did not know why, but she felt like it was something she must not lose. She now understood that it was the smoke signal the queen had given her. Layla resolved that she had to tell His Majesty about everything tomorrow, including the confusion spell, and that she could not allow such a thing to be spread around. She thought about how Raphael was the Dragon King and wondered what he would think of her after all this. Layla was brought before the Dragon King in the throne room, escorted by guards. Burgundy, Spruce, Indigo, and the dignitaries were all present. Raphael asked if that was all. Layla confirmed it. Raphael told Layla to look into his eyes and answer him. He asked if that was everything. Layla flinched. Layla stated that she had spoken no lies. She said she owed the Dragon Kingdom a great debt, as they had taken in someone like her with nowhere else to go and treated her so well. She stated that there was no way she could betray the country for Vavel. However, she admitted there was no doubt about it, she was a Vavelian. She said she would accept whatever punishment the Dragon King deemed fit. The dignitaries erupted, demanding that Raphael hand down a strict sentence. They argued that with even the culprit admitting as much, a lenient punishment would never set a proper example. They begged for a strict sentence. Indigo remarked that the dignitaries were quite lively and told them to be quiet. Raphael ordered that Layla be taken to the dungeon. He said that once the situation with Vavel was resolved, he would pass judgment then. Layla was surprised and asked if it was not exile or something. Burgundy called her an idiot, explaining that if they exiled her now, she would probably just let Vavel in. Indigo thought to herself that the one who was most conflicted right now was Raphael himself. The guards roughly escorted Layla away. Layla looked back at Raphael one last time as she was taken away.